Hello, I am filming today's video at Nahamsha Gifts, a little bit of a different background. And in today's video, I want to share with you all of the gear changes that I'm making for when I go back out on the Appalachian Trail and do the last 230 miles. So I've been off the trail for a couple months now. It's given me a long time to think about gear, think about what I wanted to change, improve. A couple new pieces of gear have just recently come out this year and I wanted to try them out. So I'm going to share all the gear changes with you and I think it should be very interesting. The first gear change I'll go over real quick because I made a whole video about this is I have a new watch. This is the Coros Apex 2 Pro. I've been wearing it every day since I got it about a month ago. Yeah, if you haven't seen that video, I will link it below, but I am really excited about this new watch. The most obvious piece of gear that I had to buy before getting back on trail, if you've seen my videos, is a new Garmin InReach. So this is the Garmin InReach Mini 2. I previously had just the Garmin InReach Mini, but since I got that in 2019, this new one has come out. Haven't even taken it out of the box yet. It should be pretty similar, maybe just some improvements to like the battery life and maybe a couple added features here and there. But yeah, I definitely had to buy a new one of these. I don't use them that often. I usually just keep the Garmin InReach off while I'm hiking and turn it on if I have to like send a message real quick and I don't have cell phone service. Even though I don't use this that much, it's still really important for me to have, especially since I hike by myself so often. So I've heard so many hiking YouTubers and people on the trail talk about this piece of gear, but I've never gotten it. I've never tried it out until now, and that is the Nightcore NU25UL headlamp. I never really thought about getting another headlamp because my old one always has worked perfectly fine. I had the Petzl Bindi headlamp. It was super lightweight. It never gave me any problems. But because my old Garmin and my old headlamp were the only two pieces of gear that still used the micro USB charging cables, getting these new two pieces of gear, they both use USB-C charging. So that way I can just get rid of that old charger and just have one less charger to worry about on trail, and I think it's just going to make charging super easy. So I get to try a new piece of gear that everyone raves about and just make the whole charging on trail a little bit easier, because micro USBs really aren't a thing these days. I feel like all the new gear coming out doesn't use them, and USB-C is like the new thing. That's how I charge my phone, these things, headphones. I feel like everything uses that these days. So just feel like I made a little bit of an upgrade. Quick interruption because I am home right now packing for the AT because I leave in just a couple days, and you know I wouldn't get back on trail without my Element. So Element is the electrolyte drink mix that I've been using all year. It's gotten me through almost 2,000 miles of the AT so far, and I'm gonna obviously take it for the rest of the trip. I should be gone for about 14 days, so I am packing 14 elements so I could have the energy and be hydrated for the whole rest of my trip and feeling good. I just looked through my giant stock of Element and I grabbed some of my favorites to take out with me. So I'm taking citrus salt, grapefruit salt, raspberry salt, and a couple orange salts. I love orange salts for when I'm drinking Element in the morning. It kind of reminds me of like an orange juice breakfast situation. So when I'm out on trail and I'm doing the big miles and I'm sweating a lot, I can really count on Element to give my body exactly what it needs. It's a science-backed formula. It doesn't have any sugar, and it just makes me feel really good and energized, because when I am dehydrated, I get headaches and my energy is low and I start to feel fatigued, and I do not want to feel like that for the last 2 weeks of my thru hike. I want to go in and I want to be feeling my best. So Element is really going to help with that. As always, you can go to my special link with Element, which is drinkelement.com/Nahamsha. And with any purchase on their website, you can get a free sample pack with 8 of their super fun flavors. Again, that is drinklmnt.com/Nahamsha. That link is in the description of this video. And now back to Nahamsha Gifts. Next, real quick, I got a new compression stuff sack. This is what I put everything I want to keep dry in my backpack. So my quilts, my sleep clothes, extra layers. I put my pillow in there, my puffy jacket. A lot of hikers choose to use a pack liner to keep their gear inside their backpack dry. It's just kind of the Nylaflume clear bag. You put everything in, you twist it down, roll it down and twist it. But I never really liked using that. It was kind of always hard for me to compress it and get all the air out. So I started using a compression stuff sack. The one I had on trail earlier this year still smells really bad. I haven't cleaned or taken really good care of my gear, which I definitely regret, but it smelled bad. It also had a giant hole, which made me nervous about keeping my gear dry. So just to make things easier, I got a new one, and this from REI, it's a 15-liter dry sack. I, again, haven't even taken it out of the package yet, but after reading it, it definitely seems more waterproof than the one I was using last time from Amazon. So excited to be using this. This next piece of gear was actually sent to me by Flextail Gear, and they're the company that makes the tiny pump. So I've had an old version of their tiny pump for a couple years now. I thought it's really cool. I've taken it on a couple trips. It inflates your sleeping pad really fast, but it is kind of noisy. And so this brand new one that they just came out with only weighs 1 ounce, and it's a lot quieter. So I thought, why not take it on the thru hike with me? It'll be a little bit of a luxury item. So this is what it looks like. It is tiny. So you have this, you have the adapter that fits my specific sleeping pad, which I'll get to in a second. There's one button, you just turn it on, and you're good to go. Super easy. So yeah, little luxury item. The last Flextail tiny pump that I had adapters that would go onto it to fit your certain sleeping pad, but they fell off really easily. But this new like rubber adapter stays on, and it's just going to be a lot less of a hassle. So I'm excited. I've used this a couple times in my living room just to inflate and deflate my sleeping pad, but I think it'll be really nice to have on trail, especially hiking through rugged Maine. I'm probably going to do a lot of late nights, and last thing you want to do at the end of the day is just blow up the sleeping pad. That's like one of the worst camp chores. I upgraded my puffy jacket. So I've been using the Atlantic Equipment Apex Torrid puffy jacket since I began this whole backpacking thing in 2019, and it is just old. I feel like it needed to be replaced. It was very flat. It didn't have much puff to it. Some of the pockets were tearing, and I could see like the insulation. So it needed an upgrade. And when I saw that Darwin's new company, Evolved Supply Co., collaborated with Enlightened Equipment to make a new puffy jacket, I decided that I wanted to try it out. So I went and got one. I forgot to bring it to the store here to show you, but it is called the Outcast, and I'm really excited to try that out. It's definitely different. It's got a different fit, but yeah, we'll see how it goes, and I'll let you know. So of course I will be vlogging the last couple weeks on trail and making the daily videos again, but because it rained so much on my last thru hike, my phone was giving me a lot of problems. Water was getting in the charging port and I wasn't able to charge it. The screen was really hard to navigate and press buttons when it had any type of moisture on it. So I'm thinking about taking my GoPro to help me vlog, especially if it's raining out. I went to power it on. I got a brand new one last year, but it didn't turn on. So I went to customer service and told them it wouldn't turn on, and they're sending me new batteries. So if I get the batteries in time before I leave for the thru hike, I will bring my GoPro, but there's a chance that might not happen. But fingers crossed, because I really want to vlog in the rain and not risk damaging my phone, especially because I cracked the screen a couple weeks ago. So I feel like the cracked screen will just make it even worse. So hopefully I have the GoPro. And then a couple other pieces of gear that I'm switching out but aren't necessarily new pieces of gear. I am taking my Thermarest Neo Air X-Therm, which is the warmer sleeping pad. That's the sleeping pad I started the AT with in March down in Georgia. So hiking in Maine in the fall, I'm assuming it's gonna get pretty cold at night, at least sometimes. So I want that extra warmth, and plus my regular sleeping pad, the Neo Air X-Lite, is still very moldy and I just don't want to use it. I'm also most likely going to be taking my Z-Packs one-person tent, I forget what it's called. It is the lightest tent that I own, and because I am taking extra luxury items like maybe the GoPro, the air pump, and just extra clothing to keep myself warm, I wanted my light tent. And plus, I don't think I'll really care about having a non-freestanding tent in Maine because there are going to be a lot of nice places for me to set up the tent that I think are going to work out really well. So that's most likely going to be the tent that I take. I still have to take it out of the bag and make sure it's clean and not musty because I haven't used it in a while. But yeah, that's gonna be most of the gear changes I'm making. I can do a full gear list maybe when I finish the hike and show you what I ended the AT with. But I like talking about gear. You guys seem to be interested in it. The gear that I talked about is all gonna be linked in the description of this video, so you can check that out, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.